Hey, let's do this, America. Hit it. How's everybody doing out there tonight? This is DrMikeSevilla and DrMikeSevilla live for Wednesday. Tamp that down, Gerry. It is Wednesday, August 20th, 2014. It is 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It is 73 degrees here at Family Medicine Rocks World Headquarters. And as always, joining me, Dr. Gerry Tolbert. How you doing there, Gerry?
Good, Mike. Good, Mike. How you doing?
Oh, living the dream there, buddy. And we are here just trying to get it right. What are we going to talk about? We have no idea. We did our usual 3 minutes of show prep for all of you out there. And,
there's more like 5.
Yeah. Well, we could probably five. So how's your week been, Gerry? How's it going? I will talk about my illness last week, and I apologize we didn't have a show. But how's it going there, buddy?
It's going really well. I have been pretty busy this week with lots of different things, mostly work-related stuff, but a few small projects at home. But going really well.
All right. Yeah. So I was ill last week. So that's why we didn't have a show, and I wanted to, but I would just really had my really bass voice going, and it just really wasn't working out.
You could have had your radio announcer voice if you tried hard enough.
Yes, and but I did have another Google Hangout, which we'll get to in just a few minutes. But another thing cool that I just finished up last week was I was a preceptor, or I was a mentor to a first-year medical student. And through our friends at the Ohio Academy of Family Physicians, they have this summer preceptorship program for first and second year medical students, which I took part in when I was back there back in the day. And she is a student actually from the area here, and we had her at the office for 4 weeks. And it was tough. It was hard because as anybody who precepts or has medical students in their office, from a productivity standpoint, it really slows you down and makes you do more work after office hours and at home. But it was definitely worth it. It definitely recharges me and doing family medicine stuff, and it was really, really fun. So I know that. Gerry, we're all, when we talk about working with students, it's such a good time. It's a lot of work when you're doing it, but it's always fun to see the future of medicine, right, Gerry?
That's right. It's something that we always joke about. That everybody's got to start somewhere. So I mean, if we stop taking care of students and having them follow us around, or sometimes precede us, as the case may be. They don't get to learn, and that's how we learned, and that's how everybody coming after us is learning, and that's why we do it. It's fun.
So we'll just jump into this, our first topic here, and it's kind of a rant.
Hey, I am not ranting.
Is my rant. Gerry is not ranting, but this whole thing, this ice bucket challenge. I mean, obviously we'll get to this serious stuff, but the lighter stuff. I mean, really, people, really. I mean, this ice bucket challenge, it's like all over the place. And for me and, my Facebook kind of feed kind of blew up about 3 or 4 days ago. And it's funny because, there's all these people complaining on Facebook now that they're just taking over their Facebook feed. But people, it's over,
No.
Just give the money, you don't have to, put ice on yourself anymore. And I know, Gerry, that it's been on your Facebook feed as well, and it's a good cause, but I think it's just kind of overdone now, don't you think?
Well, I'm going to be devil's advocate here, and I'm going to say that we are in an age where this has been going on for a week. That's not exactly how do I put this? A week is really not that long. especially when you're talking about $13 million, which was, I think, the last number I heard quoted for the amount of money that they've raised, which is a lot. I mean, it's several million more than they would usually have by this time. They're doing it for a good cause. ALS, or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease, is a muscle wasting disease, and it's important. I think one of the things that we have to be careful of, the thing that bothers me about the challenge, not the challenge itself. I'm okay with people raising money for ALS. It's that a lot of these videos aren't mentioning that that's really what this is for. They'll say it's the ALS challenge, or they'll say it's the Ice Bucket challenge, but they don't say, okay, we're going to raise money for this muscle wasting disease so that they can do research and that they can help potentially find a cure, for this horribly debilitating and very, very tragic, I guess would be the best way to put it, disease. It's a disease that affects the young and takes away their ability to use their muscles, all of their muscles, not just the ones that we think of for legs or arms or whatever. It's a disease that basically takes all of the what we call motor neurons, the neurons, and you know this, but for the listeners that aren't medical, the motor neurons, the neurons that allow us to move, and it basically shuts them down. They don't work anymore, and so anything that we would normally have what we call voluntary control over is gone. That is one of my probably biggest fears, is to be stuck in a body that doesn't work with my mind still fully intact. And so I'm honestly, I think it's a great cause. I think if they tend to raise more money for them, in the long run, I think that I can handle a couple of weeks of goofy people dumping ice on their heads. Now, I will say, if you search for Ice Bucket Challenge fail on YouTube, some of the funniest videos I've watched in a very, very long time. Several people getting hit in the head with buckets. Nobody looks like they got any concussions or anything. I'm not laughing at their pain. I'm laughing at the fact that somebody dropped a bucket on somebody else's head. But yeah, some funny stuff there.
So yeah, I mean, I think we're just all jealous of how viral this is and how much millions of dollars that this organization has been able to raise. I mean, it's just, what are the chances that would happen in this nanosecond type of world that we have? There are people doing crazy stuff for charity, for organizations all the time, and who knew that this thing would really kind of take off? And not only the ALS association, and that website is alsa.org.
Yes.
And I think people aren't mentioning that enough. They should mention that, in addition to their donating money and doing the stunt. They should mention that as well. And from a purely social media standpoint, the other big winner in this is of course Facebook, because they are having all their kind of news feeds of people doing this thing. And I've read some things that it's kind of pulled people back into Facebook. Now, are they going to leave next week again? Maybe, probably. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think some of those videos do have some ads in them, I think, and that's another benefit to Facebook as well, for some of that. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting phenomenon, and I'm glad that this type of thing is kind of attached to a charity and that they are raising money, and all the other philanthropic organizations are just jealous about how much buzz that they're getting on social media and how much money that is being raised. So I mean, overall, it's a cool thing. I'm just one of those curmudgeons there, Gerry, and saying, hey, people, just come on, it's just get over it.
Yeah, you're on the cutting edge, and that's sometimes being on the cutting edge, you have to slice thin. So.
That's right. That's right.
Like cheese.
That's right. So before we kind of transition into our next topic, just want to give a big shout out to the huge American Academy of Family Physicians annual meeting. It's called Assembly. previously known as Annual Scientific Assembly. And the hashtag for that big, huge, enormous meeting is AAFP 2014. That also encompasses the Congress of Delegates, which is the policy-making part of the meeting, and then later part of the meeting is medical education, and just a huge, huge social event, and that's going to be taking place in October. And as September quickly comes to us, Gerry, I think we're going to have a lot of big plans. I'm hoping to get some more of our peeps ramping up to the meeting right on this broadcast here. Talking with us about family medicine, talking with us about assembly, talking with us about AAFP type stuff. It's hard to believe that is middle, late August, and September will be right on us right away, and we're going to be talking about this meeting and hoping to hype it up and get people excited about it. It's going to be a really good and fun thing, Gerry.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a great chance to not only learn something, but also to decide the policy for the next year that's going to drive really where the focus of the academy is, and that's a huge thing. Yeah, we need to get as many people involved as possible, because the more voices we get heard, the more likely we are to come to an agreement that makes as many people as possible not necessarily happy, but at least content.
So we'll be talking about that more as each of these broadcasts kind of go forward. So kind of transitioning to our second topic here, one of the hangouts that I was on last week was with our friends from SPSM Chat. That's the Suicide Prevention Social Media Chat, and a lot of those folks are associated with the American Association of Suicidology. Their website is suicidology.org, and of course we're talking about Robin Williams and then the tragedy of that whole situation. And we're going to touch on that a little bit here tonight. Well, just to kind of specifically talking about that chat with Dr. April Foreman, who's a psychologist, and she works with VA patients, and she's affiliated with that Suicidology Association, and she brought some people together, and she was gracious to ask me to be a part of that as well. Talk about Robin Williams, and also, the reports, the confirmed reports that he did take his own life, that he did commit suicide, and interestingly, that Google Hangout also kind of analyzed the response of the suicide prevention community, as far as they were not prepared really to answer phone calls from people like CNN. They could have been better prepared for that. On that Google Hangout was the president of that association, and he talked about how he got a phone call from CNN and how he was asked to put together an essay, an article for CNN.com, and it was very, very well done. But they talked about things like well, why does it have to be a celebrity or in this news cycle type of thing to talk about suicide? There has to be other type of opportunities. There has to be other types of venues to try to raise awareness with this. I know me personally, I had a lot of my patients last week talk about that, the tragedy of it, the tragedy of issues like mental illness and substance abuse and suicide. And all that type of stuff. So, it was very well done, that Google Hangout, and I think they're talking about a part 2 of that as well. So overall, I was glad to be a part of that. Glad to be kind of a primary care voice, kind of a social media leader type of thing, talking about that. So Gerry, I don't know if you're able to take a look at that, or if you had any thoughts on this subject in general.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I was able to watch part of it, but just getting people in the same room and getting the conversation started, I think, is the important part. It's like you said, there's there's something fundamentally sad about having it have to have somebody actually famous and in the limelight committing suicide for it to become such a big topic, because it happens so much. And so, there's a one of the Aladdin quotes that stuck with me for the last week since all this kind of happened. That whole idea of phenomenal cosmic power and itty bitty living space. It's a great kind of metaphor for us as people. We've got all of this ability, all of these things, all of these wonderful thoughts, everything that goes on inside our heads, and we've got this little bitty space to keep them in, and sometimes that can be overwhelming, and just the fact that everybody deals with those things differently. So I just it was good to hear so many people talking about it in a way that was constructive and not destructive. That SPSM is a pretty neat group, and I was glad to be able to see some of that.
And kind of shifting a little bit just about Robin Williams himself, one of the things that we did in that chat was kind of share about, how we heard about it and kind of your initial feelings. How did you initially hear the news there, Gerry?
I actually caught it on Twitter within about 20 minutes or so of it hitting. I was that night kind of watching Twitter for no reason, just playing around. We were laying in bed watching television, and I had that sitting there while I was reading, and noticed that somebody, I don't even remember who it was now, that had put up a sort of basically a rest in peace Robin Williams, and I thought, it's another one of those stupid hoaxes, kind of like everybody else. And then, there were lots of confirmatory tweets after that, and so it was pretty. I don't know. I spent the next probably 30 minutes to an hour just sitting and going through, just like everybody else, going through all of the positive, happy memories that came from his work that I had in my own life. So that was I guess my way of coping with that. We kind of take ownership of these people that enter our lives through our living room, even though we don't. I never met him. I don't know him. But one of my first reactions was to find my favorite, one of my favorite Robin Williams moments, the one that still pretty much anytime I see it, chokes me up a little bit, which is the "Oh Captain, My Captain" moment. And so I found a picture of that and put it up on my Facebook, and just even though that wasn't him, that was a character he was playing, it was still something that he brought a lot of emotion to and made real. So it was a big deal.
And I do want to also give people some information again about the American Association of Suicidology, and there is a I want to get this right. I believe it is National Suicide Awareness Week. I believe that is coming up just in a couple weeks in September, and on their site, suicidology.org, they are selling T-shirts. On the back, it has their phone number, National Center for the Prevention of Youth Suicide, 1-800-273-TALK. And the T-shirt says, "Want to talk? Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline." And I think for that week, their hashtag is the letter U, and then OK 2014. I believe that is what their hashtag is will be for that week. So
What it looks like, yeah.
So I encourage people to check that out. As we talked during their Google Hangout, is how to continue the momentum of education of the public, after this news cycle. And you can see in the news now that they are talking a little bit less and less and less about Robin Williams, and then more about other types of news stories. But I did want to talk about, and you talked about before the show, Gerry, is David Letterman had a moving type of tribute last night on his show. When you talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, he basically just talked about his history with Robin Williams and coming up with him in the original comedy scene when they were both starting out, and how much that impacted him, and how how much of a comedic genius that Robin Williams was. The clips that they showed were very, very good, but if you look at any of these, if you look at any of the talk shows, when they were showing the clips of him on the talk shows, he flourished in that environment. He's probably the best guest I think I've ever seen on a talk show after watching all of those clips run together like that. But the idea of, Letterman kind of made the comment, they were pretty well known to each other, and he didn't have any idea that he was suffering, and that kind of ties back to what we were talking about, is that, that the suicidology.org, that UOK, that idea of, if we don't ask about it, if we don't try to make sure that everybody is at least acknowledged, then we never know, and that's a big thing. And he brought that home hardcore. Like, the end of that video was really, really tough to watch.
And I've talked to April Foreman before, and she hosted that Google Hangout last week, but I've talked with her, and maybe I'll have her come on here, or some of her colleagues to come on one of my hosted Google Hangouts during that week to increase awareness, to kind of cross-pollinate our audiences, and to kind of have an expert from their point of view come on and talk about it during their awareness week. I talked to her about National Primary Care Week, and because primary care, family medicine, mental health, they definitely go together, and we definitely have been collaborating on some projects in the past. So it'll be good just to kind of maybe have her, some of her colleagues on as well, because Gerry, I mean, we've talked about the importance of mental health, mental illness, primary care, family medicine. All of that goes together, and there are definitely opportunities to collaborate with that community to benefit our patients.
Yeah, as goes the mind, so goes the body, and how important is that to everything that we do? And you're right, as family physicians, that's a big proportion of what we do is mental health, even if it's not direct mental health. So yeah, it's huge.
So as we're kind of moving along in the show now, want to just take a little bit of a break and talk about what's coming up next spring. We've talked about on the show before the National Conference of Constituency Leaders, the NCCL 2015 meeting from the American Academy of Family Physicians. Huge leadership meeting in the spring of next year, aafp.org/leader. And we have given a lot of shout-outs to that, a lot of, hey, look out for it. It's going to be huge things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about that more.
Fascinating things, my friend.
Fascinating.
Yes, fascinating.
Yeah. Exactly. So yes, you're going to be hearing more of that, and I'm hoping to ask guests to come on here not only to talk about the October Washington D.C. meeting, but also the spring leadership meeting as well. You out there, you're going to be hearing more about it because it's my show, and we're going to be talking about that more. Right, Gerry?
Yeah, get your ears on, because we're going to be coming at you. How many metaphors can I mix?
Exactly. And speaking of metaphors, no, that's like the worst transition ever. But we do want to give a big shout out to our good friend AFP Prez, Reed Blackwater. Why? Because we're begging. Well, I'm begging Reed to come on the Google Hangout with us, to slum it with us.
Yeah, since he's a big Hangout star himself now, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So our next news story here is it comes from the Leader Voices blog from the American Academy of Family Physicians, and this article is dated Thursday, August 14th. AAFP president engages with students in online forum, and basically it talks about AFP Prez answering questions, interacting with student and resident leaders on a Google Hangout similar to this, but obviously he's the president, so he gets more people because he's cool and we're not. So Basically,
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, well, he's got an official endorsement from the Academy. That kind of helps a little bit, maybe, but you never know. I mean, it's one of those deals where the fact that he's even doing it is really cool. Reed's a very forward-thinking person, and we've got some really great footage of him playing with Google Glass even. So there's an element of this that I really want to talk about, though, which is where do we get our royalties for being the first to suggest this idea and really encourage everybody else to do it? Where do we get our recognition and our names in lights as well? Because I want to sign up for that. That was a great face.
Gerry. It is when you're on the cutting edge, you tend to bleed. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyway,
but people should go to afp.org.
Yes.
They should go to the Leader of Voices blog. Read. I mean, it is a huge piece that was written on Thursday, August 14th. AFP president engages with students in online forum. And it very much details, the discussion, kind of their process. And it says here their next Google Hangout is scheduled for August 26th at 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time. What
I think is interesting is he's only doing 15 minutes with these. They're going to get through the theme song. How is that? I mean, 15 minutes. How do you do that?
We
shoot for half an hour and hit an hour and a half every time. So,
I don't know. They need better producers. I'm not sure what that is.
They need a soundboard.
An example. What if you were running it, what kind of soundboard stuff would you put on there? Do you know?
The sad part is I should have actually had something queued up when I made that reference. So if we keep
this is why we will continue to be in the minor leagues here in the FM Revolution. We are the FM Revolution minor leagues.
We're the AAA team here.
We're the Baz News Bears of the
FM
Revolution. So we show people how things are not done. And then everyone else in the FM Revolution will capitalize on that. They will improve on it. They will look so much better because we take the hit for them. We
do to a certain degree. You're right. That's
we show them how it's not done, and I'm trying to stretch this as much as I can.
And I'm having a lot of trouble actually even getting my iPad to turn on. So not really on, but you know how it goes.
Good thing we have rehearsal before the actual show.
Right, exactly. So. And there's a lot to be said for having some type of sound. It should make lots of noises. And what's sad is I'm sitting here thinking I guess I should probably start like. So their next Google Hangout will be on August 26th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I'm going to do my best to try to crash that and ask a dumb question. I don't know if that'll be allowed. Maybe that's why we don't get any official backing from the AFP, because that could be, and it's supposed to be a student thing, which I would encourage any medical students interested in family medicine, whether you choose to do family medicine or not as your career, as your lifestyle, as your calling. I would encourage you to participate in the conversation, because this isn't just about. It isn't just about family medicine. It's about family medicine's interaction with the rest of medicine as a whole, and students especially, because they're going to be the people that we're interacting with, as a group in toto.
Yes. After this whole I'm going to call phase.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I found some sounds.
Hey.
Do 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 do.
What do you got there, man?
I have beeps. I have beeps. I have sweeps. And I have bleeps. All right, name that movie.
I don't know.
It's Spaceballs.
Oh, fail. Hashtag fail. Man, can't believe
How about
that.
this one? You know what this one is? Did you hear that one? Here, let me
No.
play it again. I'm going to turn it up a little bit, so watch your ears.
No, it's Star Trek. Isn't it Star Trek?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like a little communicator.
Yeah, so it's the next iteration.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Hey. Yeah. So the lesson here, kids, is 1, have a soundboard. 2, do rehearsal. And
3, be
3,
famous. There is no 3.
right. Great. So yeah. Let's see. That was I got nothing else on my list. So what else you got going on there, Gerry?
I'm having a Diet Coke with my friend. I love the most generic thing that you could possibly put on a Coke can there. And if any of you have Chelsea, yeah. Hey,
Chelsea.
Shout out to Chelsea. You're probably not watching.
Shout out to Chelsea. Not watching, yeah, because there's nobody watching right now. But that's awesome.
Well, I mean, like later, because we do have people that watch this later. Interestingly enough,
you can watch this on demand anytime at MikeSevilla.tv. And please do that, and please do that. And I did want to give a little promo to our friend Dr. New,
yes.
Ryan Newhoffel. He will be on this show a week from tomorrow. It'll be August 28th. I believe 1 p.m. Actually, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, I believe. And
nice.
It'll be on the Twitter feed. But he'll talk about his experience at this most recent resident student meeting. And if you saw pictures from that, they had a really nice setup as far as on the stage. They had these nice, comfy, big, cushy type of seats. Our good friend Deb Clements moderated the thing, and it sounded like it was a good time.
Yeah, no, I saw you put that announcement up after you put up the announcement for tonight's show, and I was excited because I want to hear about that.
All right, so cool. I got nothing else.
If anybody has ideas for, if they think we should have segments for this thing, if they have ideas for things that we should put into this, I think that's one thing that we kind of have been very free form. It's just a conversation. But if there's something that you want us to talk about, we don't have like a subreddit or anything that these bigger podcasts have. But we do have email, we do have Twitter, and we're more than happy to kind of entertain comments. We've gotten a few comments about different things, and in fact, I've gotten some questions out of the stuff that we talked about a few times from friends and family. So this is not something that's has a whole lot of form right now, but it may become more so as we go along. But if you have things that you think we should talk about, or things that you think a doctor's opinion would actually be useful on, shoot us a tweet or an email.
Exactly. Yeah, and as I said at the top of the show, as September quickly arrives and October, I really want to be kind of hitting this hard because I think we've pretty much figured out the technology stuff here, and I think we're ready to kind of move on kind of from our beta shows.
Right. Our proof of concept.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Then maybe rename this, countdown to assembly or countdown to hashtag AFP 2014 or something like that.
So doesn't it have to have a name in order for us to rename it, or are we calling it Let's Do This America?
I don't know. It is the unnamed, yet to be named later show.
Hey, to be named later show. I like that. TBNL for short. TBNL.
What's funny, Gerry, is that like on my
clowns
Facebook,
riding on cannibals.
There you go. On my Facebook feed now, like people are using this "Let's Do This America" and like tagging me. It's just like
nice.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I've seen a few of our mutual friends use some of that. Robin and Kim particularly have on call nights used it as you do often. So I think it's a good tagline. I mean, it'll make you famous.
Exactly. I mean, there's worse taglines to have. And,
exactly. Heyo.
Maybe.
Nenu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe I'll have T-shirts made or something.
Hey, there you go. You could have like a waving flag, like and take like the Stephen Colbert where he does the 3-point landing and holding the flag, and then Photoshop your face over his. Or we could even just take a picture of you doing that, holding an American flag. That would be pretty impressive too.
Well, we'll leave this. We'll crowdsource this.
Oh, we could do the video, and then we could use, since now I have this really expensive but very powerful piece of software, we could use that to make you in that same setting.
We have the technology.
We can rebuild him.
Oh, Gerry, do you have any van updates from our last?
Yes, actually, we do. We have the van now. Let me see if I can find a good picture of it, and I will put it on the screen for people to look at. As I am killing time here until I can pull up the appropriate program to show that photo, I will say it is a Honda Odyssey. Honda won the lottery because they were cheaper and had better bells and whistles, and my wife fell in love with the color. The color is a sort of midnight blue-ish color. It's actually, I think it's... Yeah, I am, to be brutally honest, I do not know what they call that color. She would be able to tell you. I unfortunately cannot. But it is a pretty impressive color, and I have some of you that are my Facebook friends may have seen the feed teaser for our new baby photos, and so let me see if I can get this to pop up here, and let's do this little button over here. But it is a blue van. It is quite pretty, and so here's the photo share. It should be coming up for you.
Yeah. So, wait. Oh, look at that.
And, so we were doing some baby photos before the babies arrived.
Gerry, your kid's upside down.
No.
Did you know that?
It's well, yeah, okay, yeah, she is. She likes that. Even you can't tell by the look on her face there, but she does enjoy it. Let's see. There's a better one there. How's that? She's right side up there. There you go.
Ah, there you go. All right.
So that's our van. It is it's really funny to me. The bells and whistles that go with it are pretty impressive. It not only does it have a camera in the back, so for backing up, they have the cameras that have the lane markers and everything. It has a camera in the mirror on the passenger side, and so you can see that, like, you don't have a blind spot because that flashes up, and it has 2 separate screens, and it's impressive. And I've driven it 3 times. We've had it for almost 2 weeks, and I just don't get to drive it because my wife loves it so much, and it's her primary vehicle. So, but I have inherited her. I've scaled up my Jeep. I had a Jeep Compass, and now I have inherited her Jeep Liberty, which is a little bit more trail rated, so I can go off road now. But going to the middle of the city, that's I go off road all the time. As that's what you do.
And your wife's okay?
Doing quite well. Tomorrow will be officially 37 weeks, and she is doing excellent. Both babies are still Vertex for you medical professionals out there. For everybody else, they're head down and engaged, and hopefully ready to come into the world soon. Because last weight check, they were 6'3" and 6'13", estimate. So about 13 pounds a baby. My wife's pretty frustrated by trying to roll over even, so a lot of extra weight she's packing around. So she's doing really well though, and she is a trooper. I definitely would be much whinier than she is.
Yes, and I'm whiny right now. Because I know I can never do any of that stuff. So yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll probably have some updates as things go along, and if we don't have a show a certain week, all of you will know why.
I may be able to have like a remote setup. I can take my iPad, and I won't have my fancy microphone and my mixer, but I will have my iPad and can be live from the hospital.
Wow. There's wow.
Not the delivery, the actual after the babies are here.
Oh, well then forget it. No.
I'm telling Sarah you said that.
No, no. That ought to be interesting. Well, we will again, we're trailblazers. We will be live from a hospital at some
Pioneers.
point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If they hadn't have taken the feature out of Hangouts to be able to do a Hangout directly from the glass, I would love to have shown people what it's like once the babies are born, to kind of the steps that you go through and all that stuff, because that's a neat thing that not everybody gets to see. So, but
You can hack in there, can't you?
actually, you can sideload software to it that would be able to do it. The problem is that it doesn't work with Hangouts, so we'd have to do it through another piece of software. So I guess I could record some video and do some other things, and we could do some clips. Maybe we have a clip show. Hey, we haven't had enough episodes to have a clip show yet.
Nice.
Once we get syndication, then we can do a clip show. That's pretty secure. I love the veto.
We have more ideas here. So we're gonna have guests. We're gonna have baby updates. We're gonna have we have a soundboard.
Did we mention we have a soundboard?
And so basically what we're saying is, please send us ideas out there.
Right. It's not that we've run out of ideas. It's that we want to make sure that we're listening to what people are saying. And if we do this, it is for us. It is a chance for us to kind of hang out and just jaw about what's going on in the world. But if other people listen to it and get something from it, that actually is kind of nice too.
We've run out of ideas.
Okay, yeah, we've run out of ideas. No. It was a slow news week. What can I say?
I know.
Everybody's not running in fear from Ebola, even though the death toll is still rising.
Yeah, so I'm going to cut it off right there before we go off on another tangent there. So thank you, Gerry, again, for the soundboard. We will. I know you've been meaning to record stuff, and we should rehearse stuff. But
I have stuff. I just need to. I need to actually put it in a format that I can get to quickly instead of something where I have to dig around.
That's okay. So you got anything else for us before we sign off for the evening here?
At this point, no. Nothing other than keep your eyes peeled, because, a couple of enterprising individuals may be showing up on your screens soon.
All right. So thanks everybody who joined us live, which was nobody. But that's fine. That's fine. It's Wednesday night in the summer. People have lives, but you can always watch us on demand anytime.
Yeah.
And
maybe they thought we were going to do an ALS ice bucket challenge.
Live on the air.
Yeah.
I should have tweeted that out and then not do it, and then people get really mad. But I will give money, because that's the right thing to do. So just like I do for
that's what it should be.
AFP Foundation and all that kind of stuff. So I'm rambling. So DrMikeSevilla.com. That gives you the Twitter feed, Facebook, podcast, YouTube. If you want to get this just directly, it's MikeSevilla.tv, and that can get you all of our stuff. Very exciting interviews that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be going out to San Francisco, coming up right after Labor Day, going up to the huge Stanford Medicine X conference,
nice.
Which is focused on patients. But I'm going to be just hanging out. I'm not presenting. I'm just hanging out. But I'm going to be interviewing people going to that. Some of my good friends that I've known through the years on social media. That's going to be fun. But yeah, countdown to AFP 14. It is coming soon, and we're going to have a lot of good stuff there. So yeah, very exciting, Gerry.
Agreed. It's really big show. Yeah. No, I don't. I'm horrible at these impersonations. I need to just stop.
So that's all I have for us here this evening, kids. DrMikeSevilla.com. Follow Dr. Gerry Tolbert, Dr. Tolbert, and we'll see you all very soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.